These lines are approved by the board. You are parked
illegally.
That completely blocks access to the lake. We have the plat map right here.
You can't just redefine the community access we were promised.
Cold blue light splashed across my bedroom ceiling while I was brushing my teeth, and when I stepped into the cold night air, a tow truck already had my best friend's car lifted off my lake driveway. The air smelled like wet asphalt and exhaust. It was 9:00 p.m. on May 3, 2024, cold enough that my breath smoked in front of me. At the curb stood an HOA board member I call Karen, puffy jacket, clipboard, bright orange ticket already filled out. "Visitor violating HOA parking zone," she said, pointing at fresh white paint I had never seen before along the front of my drive by the lake. "Tow is already called. Pay the fine or pick it up tomorrow." My friend kept asking what rule we broke. I just stared at the lines across my own driveway and felt my stomach drop with the car. The next morning I went out with a tape measure and a mug of bitter coffee. In daylight I saw the whole thing. Sometime that week the HOA had painted 15 skinny parking spaces across the edge of my lake driveway, turning my private easement into their parking strip. My mailbox already held 3 tickets, each for $100, all in Karen's sharp handwriting. Neighbors walked past extra fast, eyes straight ahead. One muttered, "Careful, she's on the board." In simple words, HOA built 15 illegal spaces across my lake driveway and ticketed my guests. Then I filed the plat map, and that was the fight. I went to the next HOA meeting with photos and my deed that clearly said lake access driveway. The president skimmed one page and pushed it back. Common area now. Board voted. Spaces stay. When I asked for the vote notes, Karen said records were internal and not for owners. On the walk home my hands shook, but my brain was calm. If they wanted to hide behind rules, I would use real ones. That night I sat at my kitchen table with a notebook and wrote everything down. Timeline item 1, April 5 at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. That was when Karen had called police on my brother for standing on my own dock. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. The law here is simple: if a driveway is on your deed, an HOA cannot treat it like a public lot. The next day on my lunch break I went to the county records office. The clerk dug in a metal drawer and dropped a heavy folder on the counter. The file landed with 63 pages. Inside was the original plat map for our subdivision, drawn years before the HOA even existed, with my lake driveway marked in thin black lines as a private easement. I paid for copies like I was buying treasure. That weekend my dining table turned into a quiet evidence lab. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I printed every ticket they had handed to me and my guests, 7 in total, for a grand total of $700. I highlighted the easement line on the plat map in bright yellow and tucked it beside my deed. Then I built neat packets with the map, the tickets, and my notes and dropped them at the city code office, the local police desk, and the HOA's own management company. I filed complaints about unpermitted parking stalls and blocking a recorded easement. 2 weeks later Karen called an emergency meeting to clear up parking confusion, and I walked in with a cardboard tube under my arm. When owners were allowed to speak, I unrolled the giant plat map across the plastic table so fast the paper snapped and the coffee cups jumped. Phones came up all over the room. The city inspector stepped forward, traced my driveway on the map, and looked at the board. "This is a private easement on the owner's deed, older than your HOA," he said. "There are no permits for those 15 stalls." The police community rep flipped through my binder, stopped on my timeline page, and read out the list of complaints Karen had filed about my guests standing on my own driveway. Harassment was the word he used. The inspector read from a letter he had already sent the board: all ticketing in those spaces had to stop at once, every fine had to be refunded within 30 days, and the painted stalls had to be removed within 10 days or the HOA would face daily penalties. Karen went pale while 3 neighbors filmed her. A week later a crew rolled black paint over all 15 spaces while half the street watched. The HOA cut refund checks and paid a civil fine to the city. Now my lake driveway is just a driveway again, gravel crunching and water lapping while friends pull in for cookouts where the fake parking lot used to be, and every time I see that open space I think it was worth every single page. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.